from Football Heritage TV, the first show. And I'm absolutely delighted to welcome, we've got a Gooner. We've got an Arsenal fan. We've got Albert JTV. Albert, how are you doing, my man? You good?
Listen, yeah, I'm all right, man. You know, is it Tuesday today? Is it? No, Wednesday night live, man. So yeah,
Wednesday.
Happy days. Thanks for the invite, and it's appreciated, my brother. Trust me.
Listen, absolutely fine, and we'll be having you on weekly, man. That's the plan. Listen to everybody in the chat. Listen, the first show as the newly formed Football Heritage TV. It's going to take a bit of time to get up and running because before it was just purely Spurs chat. So we're going to take a bit of time. Moving forward over the next few weeks, we're going to have shows every Tuesday night at 10, every Thursday night at 10 with Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans, West Ham fans, City fans, you name it, we've got them. So we'll start Albert, and then we've got Kaz from Never a Foul Media, Man United fan, joining us in about half an hour or so. So big up to everyone on the channel. Before we start, there have been some very kind people. Morton Barley, thank you very much. I said, wanted to be the first to say good luck. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really do appreciate it. Perchy TV, people go and subscribe to this guy. He's started his channel in the last couple of days and got a couple of hundred subscribers nearly. So go and see Perchy. I said, buzzing for the content coming in the coming weeks. Everybody else, you're welcome. Please please subscribe. Go and subscribe to my man Albert. Listen, subscribe to everybody you can. See as much content as you can. Albert, let me start with you. Your team, not my team, your team have done, would you say, more than expected at this stage of the season? What were your feelings at the beginning of the year for Arsenal?
Oh dear, what a loaded question, man. This has been a major surprise. There are some overly positive fans in the Arsenal fan base, which I don't know where it comes from after what I've seen in recent years anyway. But no, even with the most positive Arsenal fan, couldn't have predicted this with 11 games to go. This is unprecedented, Savva, to be honest with you. Particularly if you look at the last 3 seasons, they say the league table doesn't lie. It's true.
It doesn't.
Back to back 8th league finishes, and the capitulation at the end of the 2 most important penultimate game of the season, losing to your guys, and then obviously the big game at St James's Park. And I've got to be honest, I was worried coming into the season. I was concerned because the way we finished that last season, that was tough, Savva. Because I went to the last game of the season against Everton, and I've never gone to an Arsenal game, so just on autopilot because the season's done. We beat Everton 5-0, but the damage had been done the week before. But yeah, this season has been a major surprise. I did not see this coming.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think many people did. I'll be honest. When I was at the beginning of the season, I said to myself, "Look, I think Spurs and Arsenal will be battling it out again for 4th." And lots of people just completely wrote you off. Like, oh well, they haven't had a good transfer window. The manager's been really underwhelming the last couple of years, even with the FA Cup. They're in the Europa League. But it's almost as though that's really spurred your players on, losing out to us by I think it was 2 points in the end. And I reckon it was the Arsenal Newcastle game where I think it kind of swung to us. Yeah. But look, you've done fantastically. Did you think that your signings, including Saliba coming back, did you think they'd have as big an impact as they've had?
It's a good question, man. With Saliba, I think it was just great when he did the interview in France before he came back to Arsenal, say, look, the speculation is going to stop. I'm coming back to the club. There's no talk of me being loaned out again or going elsewhere. Because obviously Arsenal fans, I mean, I was concerned, Savva, because we bought a player that hadn't played for us for 3 years, more or less. I've never seen that before in football. So obviously, was looking forward to seeing him come back. I did watch him play a few times in France, not many times, but I was impressed with what I saw, I'll be honest with you. But a lot of the guys that I collab with in terms of YouTubers, some of them went to the tour in America. And I remember judges were saying to me, he said, look, you see this guy is unreal. When he comes back and starts the season, he's going to be impressed. And he's been unbelievable, to be honest with you. And I think the biggest thing as well, And this is what really winds me up with some sections of the Arsenal fan base. I kind of don't have major arguments, but just like I'm a big fan where you buy players within the league. And the reason why I say that, whether they're English or they're foreign players that already play in the league, is they don't need time to adjust.
Yeah.
Arsenal fans get too caught up with the big name signings and the FIFA signings. They need to stop doing that. There's plenty of players that play within the Premier League, English or foreign, that will come to Arsenal and make us better. So when we brought in the likes of Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, I was through the roof. You know, they're not over the hill. They've been in the league 4 or 5 years. They've got winning mentality. Although they're young, but they've got experience. You got some experienced boys already at Arsenal in terms of Partey and Xhaka and who else has been there long enough? I'm trying to think. That's what more quickly. There's a few others, but the window I was okay with it, but I also had in the back of my mind is depending on how the season goes, I also want to see what Arsenal potentially do in January because
of course.
That's not a month that bodes well for Arsenal fans when it comes to January transfer window. But I was pleased with some of the signings, apart from the fact that any Arsenal fan would tell you this. I don't know what it is. We just cannot seem to address the central areas of midfield.
Right.
You know, I've seen enough of Lokonga. He's got ability. He's had a couple of games in an Arsenal show. He's played well, but I've not been too impressed with what I've seen. They obviously gave El Neni a year contract extension. You can argue here or there whether you want him to stay on or not. Experience. Xhaka, obviously, and Thomas Partey, but I was a little bit concerned that we kind of left that area unattended, like we seem to do the last 3 or 4 years, because it's a key area. And you know, Thomas Partey, I love him, Savva, but he is very high risk injury. And I'm surprised actually that he's got through a lot of the games he's got through this season. Right?
Yeah. He's been excellent though, right? This season. I mean, him and Xhaka. And look, as a Spurs, as a Spurs fan, I think most football fans would look at Arsenal and say, well, you know, Xhaka's a liability, constantly getting sent off and fouling, and you know, he's the weak link. But you watch Arsenal play, and him and Partey have been absolutely solid all season, and that's got to be pleasing from your point of view. The fact that you didn't go out in the window. I mean, I know obviously you bought Jorginho in January as some reinforcement, but you didn't go out in the summer and buy a top class central midfielder. You stuck with those two, and at the moment, obviously, still 10, 11 games to go. At the moment, Arteta's got it right, and I hate it, but he's got it right, hasn't he? He has.
Yeah, no, it's true. He has. A lot of our fan base showed a lot of patience with Arteta. The ones that were very, very sort of hard in, you know, will stick by him. And you know, you had a bit of a to and fro with the Arsenal fan base, you know, where results weren't going great for him. And listen, people call him a lucky Spaniard, and he was very lucky to be in the Arsenal job because there's a lot of clubs he could have gone to where he would have been given the boot. But you know, they've stuck by him, and you know, I think with me, my impression of Arteta is, he must have said something in the first interview because you know they he didn't get the job. They went for experience from Emery, but you know he got the job the second time round, and it was a tough call that Arsenal made because I don't see any top clubs in English football taking on a manager that's never managed. That's incredible.
Yeah. That's some incredible loyalty there. I mean, let's be honest. This is the equivalent. If we look at other clubs, let's have a look. This is the equivalent of Spurs taking on Michael Carrick. Would you say? Even though I know Michael Carrick's managing, but he's had 1 year at Middlesbrough. They're flying. He's done really well.
Yeah, really well.
But I can only imagine that if in the summer, if when Conte walks, if they went, right, Michael Carrick's your new manager, I can only imagine the kind of hostility within the fan base.
Yeah.
But look, Arteta, it's not been all sunshine and roses.
No.
You know, winning the FA Cup, people can say how lucky. Listen, it will go down in the record books. You won the FA Cup, right? You won the FA Cup, and then he's had what, eighth, fifth.
8th and 5th.
Before now, it's 8th and 5th. I mean, look, from 5th to 1st. But I'm going to ask you a question here, and it's really difficult because the season's not finished. Whether you finish 1st or 2nd, which I'm pretty sure that they're going to be the only two options for you. Whether you finish 1st or 2nd, it's been a brilliant year. In my mind, for Arsenal, it's been a brilliant year because of where you were last year. does that put more pressure on Arteta for next year? Because you've got Man City, who will still be there next year. You know they will. It doesn't matter what happens to them. Erling Haaland will have them there, whether they drop off a cliff or not. Liverpool surely can't be as bad. Chelsea are buying and they'll be settled. Newcastle are going to spend again. Man United look like they're coming back. God knows what Tottenham are going to do. But does that put the pressure on Arteta for next season to go again? Do you think he's got that in him? Has this squad got it in them to go again?
I think where they've put quite a bit of time and patience into him, and Arsenal have spent money. I think in terms of the pressure, I'm not sure, Sabs. I mean, if I look at it from the point of view of maybe a little bit more pressure if Arsenal do go on to win the league, touch wood, I hope they do. Listen, I don't want it to be a case of it being, and I say Arsenal are a club where they talk about standards and going back to the team of yesteryear and the players we had. I get that kind of talk, and I think a league title obviously helps winning that.
Yeah, of course.
And that's where we need to be, Sally. It's not arrogance. It's Arsenal were a big club, and I've been lucky. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm 21 plus a little bit of VAT. So I've seen Arsenal.
How
win
much VAT?
Yeah. Oh God,
Yeah.
a good 10, 15 years plus, mate. Trust me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a standards thing, and I think if Arsenal can have that stepping stone where they go and win a league title, I guess if it's Arsenal Football Club, the pressure should be there, right?
I think any team that wins the league, next season, there's two schools of thought, isn't there? There's the school of thought of, we've done it now, so the pressure's off. Or there's you'd like to think that not only your manager, but your board, your scouts, the players, everyone's right. Let's go and do that again and some. Let's go and solidify ourselves as one of the top clubs. And you've not been there for a while, right? I mean, it was you and Man United for years, like the back and forth. And
Fergie days, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The Fergie, the Wenger days when you had the whole Keane, Vieira, kind of rifts in the tunnel. So, I mean, this must be pleasing for you. And I don't know this feeling, by the way, but this must be pleasing for you to be there, at least with a shout of it, with 10, 11 games to go.
Yeah, like I said at the sort of the top of the stream, this has been a massive surprise, a good surprise, by the way.
Yeah.
I think partly as well is people talk about recruitment a lot. I think many clubs can talk about recruitment of how they're happy or not happy with the way the clubs do it, but I think with Arsenal, with some of the players we brought in, I mean, I don't think we are now, if I have to sort of research it, we're the youngest sort of squad in the Premier League, or one of the youngest squads in the Premier League. We have got some experience there, but I thought in terms of a title challenge, Savva, I thought looking at the average age of the squads, I think Liverpool was about 29 years. I think City was about 27, 28, Chelsea around that sort of time. I thought Arsenal were probably, in terms of competing for a league title, I thought there's another 3 years off.
Right.
2 years of bed, but 2-3 years, yeah. Just in terms of bedding together some of the players that already been there. The defense is looking a little bit more solid. Arsenal fans have got a bit more confidence in it. And most importantly, I think what Arsenal do have and what top clubs should have, not just squad depth. We haven't really got that as much, really. We need to improve on it, but there's a spine through the team.
Yeah.
Ramsdale, Gabriel. Thank you. Ramsdale.
Yeah, subscribe to Albert.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Albert. A great guy. Absolutely great guy.
Yeah, Partey and Jesus. So it's very important if you're going to be a top side going for major honours, you need to have a spine in the team. The squad depth is something Arsenal is ongoing, and they do need to address it, Savva, because we've done well to get through the season we have done with not having critical injuries, but getting Jesus back is massive. But yeah, it's been a surprise. But yeah, a spine of the team is very, very important.
I mean, I was having a chat with there's a few people in the chat that you can, even without seeing anybody's club name in their handle, you know who they support just by their hatred. Or there's people in the chat saying, Arsenal will collapse in April, Arsenal will fall off, don't worry. The very same person in my chat didn't convince me that Spurs were definitely winning the FA Cup this year. But look, one thing I wanted to say, I've said for me, this title, even with you being 5 points clear, this title for me is very much down to one game. And this is the game at the Etihad, right? This is only my theory. I've said Man City will win the league all year. I'm looking like that's going to be completely wrong at the moment. But I truly believe it's going to come down to that one game for you guys at the Etihad. Because then taking that gap to 2 points changes everything. Mindset, them hunting you down.
Yeah.
Do you see it that way, or are you a bit more calm about the situation?
There's two ways I look at it, and I think the narrative does change a little bit. I've mentioned this before because when we played City at the Emirates, that game had been built for quite a while, and they rescheduled the date, and we knew where it was going to be, and that's going to be a title. It's going to be a big influence in the title, and obviously Gary Neville thought when City winning, the title was done, Arsenal were done. But I think because Arsenal have had many tests this season, Savva, right, and we've come through it with flying colours. We had a mini blip. Now we've got 5 on the bounce. I think in regards to the City game, because obviously the lead is 5 points. As long as Arsenal don't lose against City and Liverpool away, then I think then they can still sort of manage it in their own hands. But if you lose those 2 games, then that advantage is gone.
Yeah.
But with City, it's an interesting one, Sam, because listen, serious players in that squad and side, and obviously what Holland did yesterday was incredible. Yeah. So, but there's still part of me, even when they beat us 3-1 at the Emirates, it's not the City of 2 years ago. It just isn't. There's something still kind of a lot on and off the pitch, and I think people saying that they're going to go on this amazing run. They might do something, but I still think there's a couple of draws and defeats in there for them.
Well, let's have a look at their results. Let's have a look. I mean, if we actually look at Man City, they've won their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In their last 9, 10, 11, in their last 14 games, they've won 12, drawn 1, and lost 1. So it's not a horrendous. Well, it's a brilliant run, but that just goes to show the run that you guys have been going on as well. Do you think that this is a transition year for City? And what I mean by that is, obviously, Erling Haaland coming into the team has completely changed the way they play, which I think will be a good thing for them moving forward. But I think took a bit of getting used to at the moment. Or do you think we're starting to see maybe Man City are going to go off the boil with De Bruyne and maybe Laporte and Walker's getting on a bit and Bernardo Silva wants to leave, Gundogan wants to leave? Do you think we're seeing an evolvement of City, or do you think we're seeing the end of City? I know that's probably a bit too early to say that, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think I saw an interview of Kevin De Bruyne actually. I think it was kind of the narrative was kind of put out there. You're kind of coming to the final years of your career, should I say?
Yeah.
But listen, he's still a top player. I love Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's amazing. But yeah, I think City in terms of Haaland, I think they've had a season. Listen, he's done amazing, even in a team where he's got to still adjust. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. But... we'll talk about him in a minute. We'll talk about Erling Haaland in a minute because he deserves his own segment, should we say?
But sometimes, Sav, the key word in football, which doesn't get given a lot of the time, is time. And listen, he's had an amazing first season, but once City get into a situation in terms of how they set up and how they play, to incorporate him a bit more, maybe gets a bit more touches, and who knows what they're going to do in a transfer window? Because that's what good teams do, Savva. Like you have to strengthen from a position of strength, which City are very good at doing that, by the way. And Arsenal needs to have that mentality as well going forward. But I think it's a reset for them personally, regardless whether they win the Champions League or not.
Yeah, I do. Do you know what I actually said? If we move on to talking a little bit about Man City, we as Spurs fans, right, and I suppose you as Arsenal fans, we sat there and watched them for years just play this sublime football, completely dominate. And this year, what I felt watching Man City was it felt almost like Pep Guardiola was playing Football Manager within his own squad. And what I mean by that is everyone knows Man City's their best 11. If you go, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, and it was Cancelo, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, and then Haaland and Foden and whoever, Mahrez, right? Or Grealish. this year it just felt like he's completely tinkered with formations. He's completely tinkered with personnel. There's been times where you've seen Akanji and Aki as the centre halves, but Diaz and Laporte fit on the bench. You've seen Rico Lewis starting when Carl Walker's fit on the bench, and you're thinking to yourself, what are you doing? And it seems to me it's only in the last month or so where he's kind of gone back to the tried and tested, which is, still tweaking formations, but that they've kind of got their mojo back. Do you see what I mean? I felt like he was trying to transition before they needed to.
Yeah, he's kind of always had that in his locker, Pep. I mean, there's been, even during sort of the COVID period, a couple of games in the Champions League while he's been there where he's made some strange decisions in terms of team lineup, and they've gone out of the competition actually. Where they've almost kind of not lost the game, but they've when they've had their sort of first leg ties, they've not been able to recover. But again, you have to look at it from a tactical point of view. But whether he's doing that to try and give the senior players a bit of a jolt, because I think he kind of mentioned that with Kevin De Bruyne in the sense of he wants him to do more. And I'm thinking, well, that's a big decision to have him on the bench. I mean, of all the players in the team, De Bruyne.
I mean, he did that versus us. I mean, was it the game at? I'll always call it White Hart Lane, by the way. I think it was the game at White Hart Lane where De Bruyne is on the bench, and as an opposition fan, I'm thinking, I'll take that. Don't get me wrong, they got class everywhere else, but you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take Kevin De Bruyne being on the bench, because we saw last night when De Bruyne wants to be De Bruyne, he's unplayable, right? He's unplayable. But let's talk, because I've got a feeling what they'll do this summer. I think you're going to see a bit of a lot of tweaking there. I think you're going to see the likes of Gundogan leave. I think you're going to see a Bernardo Silva leave, maybe a Mahrez, and I think you're going to start seeing them go for players like maybe an Alexis McAllister of Brighton. That type of player that can play Pep Guardiola football, right? Good touch, good movement, control. But let's talk about Erling Haaland for a second, because I think it would be really rude not to after last night. Now, they kept mentioning it on. I don't know. Did you manage to watch the game last night?
Yeah, I did. I did watch it. Yeah.
So the commentators kept saying, like, so many people have been saying what I'm about to say, and they have. I've seen it on so many streams where people are going, "Oh, well, Man City are worse for having Erling Haaland in the team." Now, this is for me. This narrative confuses me, because the guy's got, is it 38 goals in all competitions by March?
Yeah.
He's 22 years of age and he scores goals for fun. How can a team be worse for having a 38 goal? I want to say 38 goal a season, but I truly believe he's going to go on and get 12 more and get to 50. How can they be worse for having him on? Can they?
No, I don't, it is a strange argument, because I've heard it for quite a while personally, but I think the key word is, and this is going to go into next season, by the way, particularly with him and Man City, it's just adapting. That's all it is. There's no rocket science behind this. It's not like a big conversation to be had.
I agree. You
understand? He's done what he's got, the numbers he's got already. And I'll be honest with you, Savva, with Haaland, obviously, I didn't see a lot of him. I used to watch Bundesliga a lot, but not over recent years. But I obviously heard about him and saw clips of him. But now he's in the league and you've seen him play week in, week out. His finishing ability is insane, man. That is a deadly striker. Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. The way that guy finishes, and he's big, he's physical, he's got pace on him as well. I'm sure he's half decent in the air as well. That's all it is. It's just adapting. Because what I noticed with strikers, when you watch them off the ball, they do make a lot of good runs, you know. And sometimes they don't get picked out. It does happen. It happens. It's not just City. It's not just an Arsenal thing. It does happen if you just watch Premier League football in general. Strikers make ones that are really good movement. They make great runs, but sometimes not always spotted, or wide forwards, whatever you want to put it. But yeah, that's all it is, Savva. It's just adapting. That's all it is.
No, listen, I completely agree. I've watched. I'm a bit of a geek, and look, I've got older. I'm older. I'm even older than you. I know you said you had 21 plus tax. I'm older than you. So my days of going out are slowly dwindling, because if I even have 2 pints, that's me for about a week. The body hurts and aches. So I watch a lot of the other leagues. I watch a lot of the Italian league. I watch the German league, Spanish league. And having watched Erling Haaland, it baffled me in the summer how many people were writing this guy off.
Crazy.
Before he'd even kicked a ball. And they were like, oh, but it's the Premier League. It's harder. His stats here are better than anywhere he's been. His finishing ability is just second to none. And the thing is, for me, Albert, he always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And he's about 9'4" or whatever he is, but he ghosts in and he just seems to go unnoticed. How does he do that?
It is incredible. And I think it does help when you've got someone like a Kevin De Bruyne. I could reel off like 100. You can reel off Mahrez or the likes of Grealish, which is gonna help. But I mean, like I said, you've already seen the groundwork at his days at Dortmund. But I think it just goes to show when someone's on your screen week in, week out, i.e. even the Premier League, and you see that and you see what this guy has, and he's only 22. Did you say?
He's 22. Wow. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
It's scary, but it's good. Listen, he may be. The thing is, he's only going to get better. So listen, if I was a defender, I wouldn't know what to do when it come up against him. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it's I tell you what, this guy is I love him. He comes in all my shows, and he's one of these. He's one of these, right? I could say it's Wednesday night, Albert, and he'll find a way of telling me it's Friday. He's just one of these. Mostly pens and 2-yard tap-ins, very boring. Like, I tell you what, I wish I had 38 boring goals in my career in one season at the age of 22. Do you know in his career, right? He's 22 years of age. He's got over 240 career goals for club and country. He's 22. To give you perspective, by the age of 22, Harry Kane had 1 year in the Premier League. Right? To give perspective.
Yeah.
Right? And anyone that says mostly pens and 2-yard tap-ins has never watched this man play in any other country other than England. Some of the thunderbolts, it just makes me laugh. And Daniel, I'm coming back to this. I'm coming back to this about Bentancur and Højbjerg. Don't you worry about that. We'll come to this later. If he stayed here for 4 or 5 years, could we see him breaking all sorts of goal scoring records, in your opinion?
Yeah, 100%. The only thing that will stop him is injuries. Because he's in a fantastic team as it is already. It's only going to be an ever-improving squad because the way City spend. And if they strengthen in the right areas, which I'm sure they probably want to bring in a couple of fullbacks to be honest, City, but you can't go forward playing 4, central defenders as your defense. But it's only going to it'd be interesting to see who they recruit in the summer, actually. Because Grealish should look good this season. He has looked really, really good.
Have you noticed he's a go-to now? Have you noticed? I tried saying this to people last year, and again from following Pep Guardiola. Like, I used to watch Barcelona loads back in the day. Yeah. When them and Madrid were on most weeks when it was on Sky Sports, and Guardiola does this with every new player. Unless they're a Haaland, unless they're sensational like that, he brings them in, he plays them sparingly. They'll have a game, the couple on the bench, then they'll have a game, and everyone writes them off. And a second season, I think Grealish he's a fantastic footballer. And forget stats. I know everyone just wants to talk about stats. When I watch Jack Grealish, 2-3 men always gravitate towards him. He's got this uncanny ability of holding onto the ball, drawing fouls. A superb footballer, I think. Him, Mahrez, Foden. I mean, it's a wonderful array of talent to pick from, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad because I look at even when I like Mahrez when he's at Leicester, to be fair, and I think sometimes I think as football fans, they need to chill out a little bit, man. What I mean by that is these boys they're good players already in the Premier League. Don't have it right with Grealish and the likes of Mahrez, for example.
Yeah.
But like when you make these big moves, like, it don't necessarily mean you're going to hit the ground running. I know this is an Arsenal fan. We've had some fantastic players. Yeah. Dennis Bergkamp and Robert Pires absolutely struggled when they came to the Premier League.
Yeah,
Struggled.
I remember Henri not having a great first year. I remember that is he a winger?
Yeah.
Is he a forward?
Yeah.
And for me, the best player I've ever seen in the Premier League.
Yeah. It's just, and that's all it is. Like sometimes it's very rare you'll go to a big club and hit the ground running. You know, Darwin Núñez has had his, you know, it'll come good next season. He will do.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a good striker. He
Yeah,
will come good.
yeah, I think he will.
But I look at Mahrez the last couple of years. He's been sensational. I mean, his goals return is insane.
Oh.
He's a leading goal scorer last year.
I'll tell you what, technically, I think Mahrez is one of the best players in the world. Technically.
Yeah,
the ball control, his touch, his fake, that shimmy he does when he goes to shoot and just rolls his foot. He's a wonderful footballer.
Yeah.
And whoever scouted him at Leicester, hats off to them. Him and Kante.
Was it 400? Was it 400,000 for Mahrez, isn't it?
Oh,
wow.
Wow. And you paid 70 million for Pepe. We paid 60 million for Richarlison and Ndombele. And this guy's £400,000. Just quickly before we continue, people, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, subscribe to Albert. And I am 3 subs away from 3,700. So come on, we're chasing down that 4K mark. Any questions you want to get in from anything, Arsenal perspective, any football perspective, any question you want to get it in, put a Q at the beginning so we know that it's a question, not a statement. Huge difference. Yeah, look, I feel like what's happening with football fans now, especially with a player like Erling Haaland, I don't know whether it's jealousy or whether people are just hating for hating's sake. I've seen so many comments already in the chat of, oh, he just scores tap-ins. Oh, but Kane's a better footballer. And it's like, yeah, but what's that got to do with Kane might be a better footballer, but Erling Haaland is a goal machine who is 22, you know, and I don't understand how people can't give the credit where it's due. 38 goals. Like
in the Premier League, I know. Yeah.
He's got, what is it? 28 in the Premier League, and then he's got 10 across the Champions League. And I don't know if he scored in the cup. That's sensational. Year one, sensational, isn't it?
I'd have to see you actually. I know Kevin Phillips many seasons ago, what is it, 2000, I think it was, he got 30 Premier League goals. 30 for Sunderland. That would he's amazing striker for Sunderland. But yeah, I mean, you know what it is, Saz? I was thinking about this, and I've always thought this for a number of years. I don't know how you feel about it as a Tottenham fan, but I don't know, like with some sections of the Arsenal fan, I use the keyword sections because I want to label them all the same.
Yeah, of course, it's not everyone. Yeah,
there's a massive snobbery when it comes to players, man. I'll give you examples, like even when we signed Ben White. Now I said to people, look, Ben White was excellent at Leeds. He's two very good solids, two very good solid seasons at Brighton. I like what I saw, and there's a reason why we bought him. But some of the Arsenal fans are just not having it at all. Like to the point that he was kind of ridiculed. I'm like, hold on a minute. He's come to Arsenal in his first season, right? Where notoriously our defense has been horrible with some of the signings we've made. This guy will come good. And my word, he's come good this season.
Yeah, do you think? Listen, I don't know what it is. I think some of it is what people want the sexy name, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's what it is.
People want the sexy name and they want the player from the top club. I guess it comes down to trust. So what I mean by that is, if you guys go on and win the Premier League this year, even if you don't, the credit in the bank with the scouts for finding a Martinelli, right? For finding a Tomiyasu, for finding Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, right? The credit in the bank is next time a player comes in, it won't be so hostile. It'll be, well, hang on. We all said this about so-and-so. Let's trust them. I.e. at Brighton. When Brighton bought in Matoma, for example,
what signing?
Their fans must have been going, like, some of the fans would be going, who? And other fans would be going, well, hang on. We've done this with Pascal Gross.
Yeah.
We've done this with Alexi McAllister. We've done this with Trossard.
Yeah.
We've done this with Cucurella.
Yeah.
You know, we've like over that Dan Burn over and over again. They scout these players and you trust it. I think a lot of it is trust, and it is at Spurs. We don't have a track record of bringing in nobodies that become really good. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember. Anyone in the chat might be able to say the last Spurs player that came in as an unknown and went on to really cement a place in the team and become a fan favourite. I'll leave that with everyone in the chat to give me names. But it's trust with scouts and like a phrase you used earlier, or a word, time.
Yeah.
Proving it over time, right?
Yeah, we've even had it with Trossard. I was like, oh my god, some of the content I was seeing, Savva, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Oh, he's 28, and I said, what? Are you Arsenal fans crazy? Trossard's a good player, man. But then he's going, oh yeah, but look at how we fell out with Roberto De Zerbi. I said, but that happens in football. I said, Arteta's not stupid to have gone through the pain and the angst with the Arsenal fans wanting him out and all this, and to bring in the player when he's already got rid of Aubameyang and Guendouzi, going to bring in a player who's going to cause unrest at Arsenal. It logically wouldn't make any sense. And Trossard is a good player, and he's an Arsenal type of player, and he's fitted in brilliantly. And I'm asking some of the Arsenal fans now: have you still got the same issue now that he's 28?
Yeah, I mean, a fantastic. I mean, we bid 12 million for him. I heard. So listen, let's swiftly move on from that one. That's what Tottenham do. But yeah, I mean, just a quick question here from Rams. Rams has said, question, Savva. Don't worry, you don't have to put the second V in my name. I won't be offended, even though I pointed it out. Savva, will you rather have the Kroenkes or Daniel Levy? The Kroenkes all day, every day.
And that's something to say that.
Right. But when you look at it, what you guys have done recently is the control of the club very much seems to be sitting with Edu, with the manager, with the scouts. And the owners, from an outside perspective, the owners seem to be realizing the mistakes of past and allowing them to just move forward and run the club. At Tottenham, it's never that. It's never, right, you're the director of football, you run this, or you're the chief scout, you run this. It's very much dealt with by Daniel Levy. So for me, the Kroenkes, I'm guessing you would say the Kroenkes over Daniel Levy as well, wouldn't you, Albert?
I would say that, yeah. It's been an interesting relationship with Arsenal fans and the Kroenkes. Listen, it's going well at the moment. Obviously, there's a bit of news today in terms of Stan and Josh being co-chairs. Sorry,
right.
It's a bit more change upstairs, and I guess change is not a bad thing. How you view it. So Arsenal doing well. So it's all rosy at the Red Half of London at the moment.
People putting in the name Bale. I mean, I wouldn't say Bale was unknown. Bale was scouted by many people for what he was doing at Southampton. I'm talking about a player coming in that everyone goes, who? Like, let's be fair. When Matoma had anyone heard of Matoma? Had anyone heard of, Alexis McAllister? When I first saw his name for Brighton a few years back, I was thinking, I didn't know his first name was Alexis. So I was seeing McAllister just thinking, oh, it's from the youth team, like an English or Scottish name, right?
I thought he was as well.
Yeah. And then when you see it was Alexis, I was like, oh, hang on, what? But yeah, I mean, look, I want to talk about Liverpool. I want to talk about Liverpool before we move on to Chelsea. And then when Kaz gets here, we'll talk about Man United. And by the way, people, Dom was due to join us, but something's come up urgent that he can't get out of. Liverpool obviously went out tonight. I don't know if you saw the game. They've just gone out to Real Madrid. It very much tonight felt like it was the day after the night before. It was a bit lackluster. Two teams that I think both knew the result was inevitable. But what have you made of Liverpool's season? Is this a blip? Are they going to come back stronger next year? And could you, after seeing them get 92, 93 points last year, could you see the drop-off being so drastic in 1 year?
Yeah, that has shocked him, man. At one point last season, there's fighting on all four fronts.
Until the last day of the season, they were fighting on all four fronts.
Yeah, it's crazy. And end up winning 2 trophies. But yeah, I didn't see the drop-off this season. Like I said, in terms of they bought Darwin Núñez, they have bought some shrewd players, Liverpool, like Gakpo and Diaz and Jota over the last couple of years. They got some good players, man. But I don't know what's happened. I think in the shortest answer I can give, they just need a massive reset, man. I think there's probably some players at the club where maybe they're not up to standard to play for Liverpool anymore. They do need to move some players on. People talk about the midfield. 30 is not over the hill, but you've got likes of Henderson and Fabinho, and the Navigator signing has not worked at all. And he came with a good billing as well, but it hasn't worked. It
he
happens.
did.
You buy a player, it doesn't work. But yeah, they just need to reset. So I mean, some of the games they lost this season. For example, they beat Liverpool. They beat Liverpool 7. Sorry, they beat Man United 7-0.
Yeah.
And they
go to
lose to
Bournemouth.
1-0.
Yeah.
Right, it's just that's their season. That's how they've been. I think Leeds beat them at Anfield this season, like when Jesse Marsh was there. So they've had some odd results. Brighton turned them over at the Amex, and they beat them in the cup. They just need to forget this season as quick as possible, man.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of talent there, though, and I do think they will bounce back. And I'm one of these fans, and I get stick for it. I don't tend to laugh at teams that are not doing well when I know that they're serial winning teams. So, like, I was having this debate the other day on the football terrace about, with another Spurs fan about why they were like, why aren't you laughing at Chelsea where they are? And I was like, well, hang on, this is the most decorated club in the last 2 decades in England, right? Yeah. Chelsea have won more than anyone else.
Yeah.
They're having a year where they're clearly in a transition, right? Clearly in a transition. New owners, new manager, new technical director of football, new scouts. There's a new medical team, 14 new players. Fans seem to think you do that and go on, win the league in one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that. And that's why I won't belittle them, because I fully expect Chelsea to be at that other end of the table. This time next year, I fully expect them to be in and around that 4th and challenging for cups. I think next year might be a bit too soon for leagues, but in my opinion, only my opinion, it's all football opinions, right? It's all opinions.
Yeah.
In my opinion, what they've kind of done is they've gone and done a rebuild in 2 windows, 14 new players.
Crazy.
And other than Koulibaly, who's 28, I think, all of them are under 24. When you look at João Felix, Mudryk, Nkunku, Madueke, Enzo Fernandez, Badashili, Fofana, Cucurella, they're all 24 or under. So I think given a bit of time, let them gel, I think they'll be all right, which is why I don't laugh at teams like that. As a Spurs fan, I can't laugh at teams that win trophies year in, year out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm just checking Koulibaly. He's 31, so he's
Is he 31? Okay.
Yeah, they've kind of got he was linked with the Premier League for quite a few years, but he's probably he's not over the hill, but they're probably Chelsea would have got the best Koulibaly, put it that way. But
no, of course.
Yeah, crazy the amount of signings Chelsea have made. But with them, I think the key thing is the one area of the pitch, Savva, that they have not addressed is to get a striker.
Yeah,
and I find that crackers.
Yeah,
I get it. Like, strikers they do cost a lot of money. I think in terms of, to me, that'd be the missing jigsaw puzzle for them. Yes, I don't think Potter might not even get. I'm not sure if he can get the 2 years that he's got the contract for. But
yeah.
I think Chelsea. I cannot believe they've not bought a striker. They've not bought a striker. But I don't think that's going to happen in the window anyway. But I think they probably, if I don't think it will happen, but if there's one striker that they could probably go for, because they've got the money to do it, would be Osimhen, Victor Osimhen, my Nigerian brother.
Yeah, I tell you what, he got another couple tonight. Look, good, I think, before I move on to Osimhen, I agree with you that the striker aspect is a strange one. We will talk about that in a minute. My worry, that's the complete wrong word. I don't know how many strikers are actually out there anymore. There used to be loads, and now I feel like there's a real dearth of strikers. But Chelsea have still got Nkunku to come in the summer, and he's a very, very impressive player. I think Enzo Fernandez is a fabulous midfielder. I think the problem, again, what we were talking about earlier, mate, what we were talking about, Albert, was he's 20 years of age, and because of his price tag, everyone's just like, go on, impress me immediately. No, and whenever I watch Chelsea, though, I am impressed. He's a very good footballer. I think they've got it all in place. I just think because they've done it all in 1 year, everyone's going, oh, go on, you spent 600 million, win a league, now go perform.
Yeah.
And listen, I think they'll be back, but who could they sign up front? Obviously, you've chucked in Osman, who's in fabulous goal scoring form. I think he's got 24, 25 for the season now.
About that.
I mean, who is there? Would he go there if Napoli are clearly going to win the league? Would he leave Napoli? Would he join Chelsea? Do you think?
Napoli's a difficult club to get players from, regardless anyway. But
yeah.
You make a good point in terms of the go for strikers, man. It's a very difficult acquisition to make, whether it's the summer or in a January transfer window. He's the only. To me, I look at it. I'd have to think about it, Sav, because it's a good question. But Osman's the one that came to the top of my mind, and I think that's who they could look at potentially.
Well, look, just quickly, let me welcome in Kaz. How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, man. Bad Liverpool fans.
You know what I mean? Have you been baiting a few Liverpool fans somewhere else? Have you?
Yeah, something like that. No,
yeah.
There's no shame going out to Real Madrid, innit? It was always going to be the case. It's just get out, innit? There's no trophies for you this season, so what can I say?
And we're going to talk about Man United in a minute, Kaz. Kaz, if you haven't met Albert meet Kaz. So look, your two clubs are fine. I suppose we were just talking about Chelsea's need for a striker and how in all the money they've spent, Kaz, it seems a bit strange that a striker wasn't like the first priority. But would you say that your club is also a club that needs a centre forward desperately, Kaz? Would you go along with that, or am I doing a bit of a disjustice to Weghorst and Rashford there?
No, you're spot on the money. We are absolutely crying for a striker. It's evident as day. I want your one at your club.
I want your one.
I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't mind. There's loads of options for the summer. But this all depends again on the situation, this, that, and the other. So
do you think you've got? I'll ask you the same question in a minute, Albert. It's interesting from a Spurs fan's point of view. I know obviously probably more about the Kane situation, but is there a belief, Kaz, that Kane is a gettable commodity for Man United in the summer? Is he your number one target?
Look, it's someone like, look, let's be honest. I get some people not be Kane's cup of tea all the time, and he might not have the pace, the explosive. How many strikers in the world like Kane go on the market available? Not many.
No.
See, this is what I'm saying. It's Kane. You got to put respect on it. I get it. The mentality thing kind of thinks about me thinking when you wear that Manchester United shirt, it weighs heavy. Can Kane handle that? Or would he thrive or like rise to the occasion? But I believe in my manager, Eric Ten Hag. So with Ten Hag alongside with it, I think he can change the way he thinks and the way he can embrace him around the club and get him in a good feel factor. You put better players around him, he's going to obviously perform. Right?
Yeah.
And you need to get away from somewhere like Tottenham because your club is dusty. So
Here we go.
I think he ends up staying with you, but I don't want to deal with Levy. I'll be so honest. Like Levy is so difficult, and people want Victor Osimhen, but he's just that Di Lorenzo, whatever his name is, that owns Napoli. No disrespect, he's just as bad. He will string it out until the final penny drops. Levy will say, "I want 90 million." He will string that out for a month. Say, "You know what? No, we want 93 million." We end up talking for another 2 weeks. 93. Oh, I think we can get a little bit more. Let's wait this out for 2 weeks and give them an answer. Pre-season's gone. The whole transfer window is just about to be done. Let's give it to him then. That's what Levy did. He done it with Berbatov in 2008. This is why Alex Ferguson didn't want to deal with Levy no more. He literally nearly effed up our whole season because of that.
Look,
man.
Look, listen, I hear you. I mean, it would be interesting from an Arsenal point of view, Albert. Two questions here. One, if Harry Kane signs another contract at Tottenham, because he's got 1 year left after this season, if he signs another contract at Tottenham, it will be showing, no doubt, overwhelming loyalty. But will that really show a lack of ambition for one of the best strikers in the world?
Yes, it would actually, because there was grumbles about him wanting to go before. I actually thought he would end up at United a few years ago. But Kaz has alluded to it, dealing with Daniel Levy is just a different kettle of fish. I mean, I remember when the Gareth Bale thing, that went on for ages at Tottenham. That was ridiculous. I remember it like it yesterday. I'm an Arsenal fan. It just took forever.
Have you seen us try and sign anyone, Albert? It took us 31 days to get Pedro Porro, and then we ended up getting him on loan. Like that's what we do. That's what we do. But do you like? Let me ask you guys this question then: how much? What is a Harry Kane worth? If Harry Kane turns around to Tottenham in June or May at the end of the season and says, I am not signing a new contract. So you can either sell me now and get some money, or I stay and run my contract down. What is Harry Kane worth in the market versus what you think Daniel Levy will request for him?
70 million.
70?
Because he's got 1 year. He's turning 30 in June. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He is a bad boy player, don't get me wrong. But what Levy will want is 100 million.
Yeah. 100%.
Nothing less, nothing more. Actually, no, obviously you'll take more, but nothing less, not a penny less. Like honestly, will I take it for 100? Will I take it? Will I take it for 100 million? No, I think I'd rather wait one more season and have him on a free and do a pre-contract in January if that's the case. I can go get a Victor Osimhen for 100 million, someone that I can have for the next 6, 7 years, 5 years. Gonzalo Ramos, another one that we linked with. I really like him. His all-round game reminds me of Harry Kane a little bit.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's
another
a good player.
one. I'm not really sold on him. Vlahovic, not really. But if I get Qatari owners, I want Mbappe. I want 200 million. There you go.
I love this. So you're gonna go from Weghorst.
Yeah, but
Weghorst,
but that's the realism of my club right now. Like we can really go from the Weghorst because we can't get anything to getting your Harry Kane's, Mbappe because of the Qatari ownership situation, them knowing each other, possibly deals. You never know. Never say never, innit?
You're spot on. You're spot on. Whatever you think he's worth, right? Daniel Levy's going to be sitting there going, all right, give us that and another 40 on top, right? Harry Kane, he'll have to leave kicking and screaming. And I don't think he's going to be sold unless he hands in a transfer request. And I just can't see him handing in a transfer request. I don't think he's got the ambition, guys. I don't.
No, you know what? I think in terms of you mentioned about the figure, I think the people put in the chat as well. I think 90 to 100 million will get it done. Whether it happens, I'm not sure. You know, I'm 50-50 of it. If I could see him leaving Tottenham, I just think he's done. How long? He's been there a long time, Savva. Like, what else has he got to give that club? He needs to for his own legacy and to sit back and tell the grandkids and whatever. Go and give yourself a chance late in your career to win some silverware.
Do you know what? I always ask this question. I'm going to put this out to everyone in the chat and to you guys as well. Can anyone name me a player as good as Harry Kane that has never won anything?
Cool.
It's a great question, right? Because
it is.
The names of players that have won things just roll off your tongue. I mean, someone earlier said Letitia.
I was about to say about Letitia, but did he?
Yeah,
right? When did he?
I don't know if he was.
He didn't win anything, did he?
No. But this is what I mean, right? If I listen, this is bad to say, and the Spurs fans hate me for this, but if I'm Harry Kane, I'm going in right the moment Spurs got knocked out to AC Milan the other night. I'd be going into the office and going, nothing's changing. You've got to let me go. I've had Jose, I've had Nuno, I've had Jose, I've had Conte, I've had Poch. I've got to go. I've got to go and win something. But guys, is there anywhere else, assuming that he wants to stay and live in the UK and he wants to get that Alan Shearer record, is there anywhere other than Man United that screams out that there is a viable option for him?
No, I don't think so. I don't see any. I think if you look at over years in terms of English players that have gone to play abroad, there's not loads. It's more now with the younger guys going to Germany and other countries. But back in the day, you'd have to. I'm going back time now. I'm talking about like your Des Walkers and your Gazmas and
your David Platts.
There's not many that because they're comfortable in England. Yeah, that's what it is. They don't want to take themselves out of their comfort zone, and that's not a criticism. That's just the way they're brought up and how they sort of want to stay in England. So I can't see Harry Kane going outside of English football, if I'm being honest.
No, I can potentially see him going somewhere like Bayern Munich, and I don't think for 100 million you'd probably lower the price if that was the case. They got Choupo-Moting up front. That says everything. That says everything you need to know about somewhere like Bayern Munich.
Could Kane break in above Choupo-Moting?
Oh, can he? It's probably a player that they could probably really deal with as well. I think Bayern Munich is the last potential piece of the puzzle for if he was to go abroad, and he would win trophies. It's pretty much guaranteed in Germany. He would bang a lot of goals there.
For sure, and he's guaranteed a trophy. Would he see? The only other club I can think of that need a striker is Chelsea, but I cannot see for love nor money that Daniel Levy is
No, I
going to
could never
sell
see that
Harry
happening.
Kane. And I'd like to think, although listen, my valuation of people has gone down as I've got older. I would love to think that Harry Kane would go, I can't go Chelsea. I just can't. But we've seen it before with a certain player that I think moved over to Arsenal a few years ago. I can't remember his name. He made the jump, and but I mean, Man United, Kaz. If he joined Man United, are we talking about Man United winning a title? Is he the difference between you winning a title and not?
Yeah, it'll be. You could like look, most teams are going through transition, aren't they? Like different types of transitions. I don't even think Arsenal's even a final product yet. That's
No.
the worst part.
Mm.
Man City are going to obviously go. They're on their transition. They're going to have to upgrade on their current situation. Chelsea, don't make me laugh. Liverpool are going to have to. They're probably the worst part of their transition because they really need a really massive bulk.
Mm.
Kane solves a lot of issues at Man United. He adds control. He adds creativity to the game, and he adds goals. So everything you
Right.
need. The only thing you will lack is obviously explosive in and around him, but that's for the manager to, get out of him. Like you see
Isn't
the
that where
chances,
you get?
but
Isn't
that's where
that
you
where you
get
get your
once you.
Rashfords and your
Yeah, but
Antonies, and that's what they're for, right?
Anthony's not explosive though. Let's be honest. If you add someone like a Frankie De Jong that can control a game where Kane doesn't need to do as much work, look at the chances Weghorst has had. You're telling me Harry Kane, if he was on the end of them, or even
Yeah,
in positions that he's in, he's sniffing a lot of those out. So if you
yeah.
add more players like Frankie De Jong, Quadio Kone, controllers in the midfield with Harry Kane and a proper number 9 and little bits and bobs, a goalkeeper and everything, instantly it's a whole different game, isn't it? It could be it could be a Van Persie situation when he comes to Man United in the first season. It might be a thing where it's like, shit, this team's looking really good. Because I guarantee Ten Hag will change his system up.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Ten Hag do that a lot this year, haven't we? He's not afraid to mix it up and make changes during games, and even games lately when I've seen Weghorst, who's about 9'10" or whatever he is, sort of dropping into that playmaker position, and you're like, what's going on here? Weren't you brought to be the target man? But whatever he's done has worked. I mean, Harry Kane's an interesting one, right? Because it's harsh, right? I don't want to call anyone a loser, and I'm not going to say he is a loser. But I am staggered he keeps signing contracts, and guys, and I will be so staggered if he does this time. But hey, I guess you reap what you sow, right?
Yeah,
I was going to say, Sav, you probably best remember, but I know when Sheringham, did he leave Tottenham to go to United?
Yeah.
If I'm right, he hadn't won. Did he won anything in his career before he went to United? Right. He went to United. Obviously, the first season we did the double, but then the 98-99 season.
Yeah, they done the
You know
trouble.
what I mean, a footballer's career is very, very short. Particularly if you have a lot of injuries. So it's for Kane, it's better late than never. He has to be saying that to himself, surely.
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so, right? But do you guys think that then has a knock-on effect? I.e., if any of the other, I want to say top players, if any of the better players at Spurs see Harry Kane hand in a transfer request, is that a domino effect where they go, hang on, I'm talking about the Romeros, the Kulusevskis, the Bentancurs. Do they look and go, hang on, we've just lost our playmaker and our centre forward, and we couldn't even win with him. Where are we going? Do you think it could have that knock-on effect, Kaz?
Potentially, I just it's a bit of a difficult one to say, man. Anything can change and happen. Like one player doesn't end a team. Like clubs move forward, they move on at the end of the day. Innit? It's like it's not the end of the world. Man United lost Cristiano Ronaldo and still went on to win a league. They didn't win the Champions League, but they could have. But obviously got cheated by Barcelona refs. So there you go,
Not
man.
salty at all there.
Like life goes on regardless. It's obviously going to be a huge miss, but it's just up to whatever the manager or your future manager, his style. Like I don't know, like that 100 million could be invested quite well. You just don't know the stuff that you do need. But I don't know about Richarlison leading no line for you guys, not in the future.
Yeah, that That can't be the one. That really can't be the one. I think the problem for me, guys, just before we move off of talking about Harry Kane, I want to talk about your two clubs in Europe tomorrow. Is with Kane, he is our playmaker and our centre forward. And one of the questions I asked the other day, and I'd be interested to know from everyone in the chat and from you guys as well, if I turn around and said to Tottenham fans right now, okay, we're going to lose Harry Kane this summer, but we're going to buy James Maddison and Ivan Toney as a two to get a playmaker and a centre forward. Would that be a fair trade? And would that maybe change the dynamic where it's actually a good thing? Everyone in the chat, let me know what you think. Albert, what do you reckon Kane for Maddison and Toney would be an improvement or on level, or what do you make?
It kind of touches on from what Kaz was saying, like, you know, it'd be raw for Tottenham fans now in the talk, because obviously he's still a Tottenham player, but you're at that point or a crossroads where he could leave, so it's quite fresh. But
yeah,
players, as harsh as it does sound, players do come and go, man, as good as they have been or are. So if that was sold to Tottenham fans, I'd snap your hand off and take it. If those two players were available and they wanted to come to Tottenham, you'd be daft to say no as a Tottenham fan. Love James Maddison. I think he's brilliant.
Me too. Class.
Obviously, Gareth Southgate feels a little bit more different, but that's another subject, man.
Do not get me on the subject of Gareth Southgate. Yeah. That winds me up so much. It's unbelievable. But yeah, it's like if you look at it again, Albert, tonight, Ivan Toney scored again. He's very comfortable as a Premier League striker, isn't he? He's the ultimate target man. From when I watch him, I think he's got everything.
Yeah, you know what? I think he did okay in his first season, but I've sort of seen him a bit more this season. I thought, you know what? I've seen a bit more about you, and I do like what I see in you. You add a lot to the team, and he should have scored a hat trick at the Etihad. I think he got two, or did he score a hat trick? I can't remember now. But he's a very good player, man. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of this whole the mess of the whole betting thing is crazy.
The whole
so that might put potential people off. Yeah, so that's a shame for him. But yeah, I mean, he would be somebody I would look at if I was your club personally.
Would that last part on this before we go to that, Kaz? Would that not be an option? Why wouldn't Man United do that? Would you be happy with that if you went out this summer and bought Maddison to play in the hole and Ivan Toney as your centre forward? Is that Man United type signings?
At Man United?
Yeah.
No chance.
Why?
I don't want them. Like, don't get wrong, Ivan Toney's not. I really like Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
He's not my number 9. Like, I'm supposed to be Man United. We have top draw number 9s. Like, I need something that's going to be elite, that's been doing it in the Champions League. Maddison, yeah, I'll take Maddison. Of course I would, but not both of them. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, you want the. I mean, there's brackets of players, right? And you want the Kane bracket, and the Toney bracket's probably the next one or two down, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, yeah. If I was Tottenham, I think Toney and Maddison's a great way to start a project off.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, our 20th project in 20 years. Yeah, we're definitely looking for that. Just a quick question someone's put in. I'll ask you two before we talk about before we talk about your European endeavours. Philly 2109, big up Philly. I hope you're well, mate. Has said, would you class Harry Kane in the same bubble as Mbappe, who was called out for staying at PSG, if he stays at Spurs? Albert, let me start with you. I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we're talking about an Mbappe that has won a World Cup and got to another World Cup final, and won multiple club trophies, albeit in France. So would these two be in the same bracket?
It's a good question. I don't think it's that easy to answer. I mean, with the Mbappe one's strange because, I mean, there's been rumors for a couple of years that he wants to go, and I just think, well, he can't be that unhappy at PSG, can he? Otherwise he would have gone. Would he not have gone already?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, Kaz, what did you make of it in the summer? For me, I've always said, look, Mbappe undoubtedly is one of the best players in world football. But I always said, you've done everything you can do now at PSG. Go and have a legacy for 7-8 years at Real Madrid, at Barcelona.
Currently, Real Madrid can't afford him.
Yeah, but they could in the summer when it was on a free, and he turned them down.
Yeah, I think he could have had that opportunity, and then maybe he's regretting it. But I don't think Real Madrid can actually afford to get him at this current moment of time. From what I've been told and what I've been seeing, they're
Yeah.
gonna have to literally sell to go get. That they got a lot of finances going out. The amount they're spending, like, is beyond their measure. Like, the La Liga's got a whole issue right now with rights, money, and the rest of it. With all the other clubs, smaller clubs, shall I say, the lesser teams, trying to fight for what they want.
So, but if we go back to when he had the opportunity in the summer and he turned it down it wasn't even like he had a hard decision. It wasn't like he had a decision of, oh, I'm going to be sold for 100 million. It was, I'm out of contract. I can go on a free. He had the chance to go to the biggest club in world football and be the next Ronaldo or Messi, right? Go and be there for 10 years, win the multiple Champions Leagues, score 400 goals. But he chose to stay at PSG, guys. Doesn't that? I don't know. Something doesn't sit right with me.
Yes, I don't know what the reason is, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll jump at the chance to work, not just to go to Madrid, but to work with Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, for me, he's one of the best managers I've come across anyway. I've seen there's
Still
some
can't win a league. Barely can win a league.
Mad, it's crazy.
Look, where the money's at.
Ancelotti.
Yeah, like, he's not really a league manager. He's a cup manager, isn't he? So
yeah, they're miles off it, aren't they? In the league, they're miles off it.
They need more. Look, Real Madrid and Mbappe sounds written in the stars. It's written in the stars, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. But I mean, who said he's still got years on him? He can go wherever he wants to go. I think if anyone can afford him, would be, or if Qataris they come in, would be Man United before Madrid. Maybe that might be the. I hate to say it might be the stepping stone.
Albert, look at this guy. He's buying Mbappe. He's buying Harry Kane. I mean, he's playing Football Manager.
Do you want me to tell you the truth of it all? Right. So Man United clears their debt, clears everything that they need to, which the Qatar guy is offering on the table. Man United legally can spend about 500 million in one transfer window for 5 seasons, 4 to 5 seasons.
Wow.
If they please. That's how big of a scale Manchester United are. That's what people don't want to face. These are actual facts.
Listen, I agree with you. I'm worried if you do. I mean, look, what? Just give us a quick update. What is actually happening? I mean, it seems like it was a while back now where the bids came in, and I don't know if I've just missed it, but it seems like it's gone a bit quiet. Is there negotiations going on? Is this happening? Is it not?
I think they set. I believe if Mike Keegan potentially said something about a new bid must be submitted within the next 10 days. And also there's an official meeting tomorrow between the representatives of each I can't think of the word. Each buyer. So each buyer that wants to buy Man United, the representatives will be over on Thursday to talk to the Glazers or whoever it may be, the Rain Group, whoever's handling it.
Well, they want 6 billion, but they're saying
they want 6 billion. They want like 6 billion, but they're not going to get 6 billion. Like, I think no one wants. They know they want it. The thing with Glazers, they will squeeze as much money as they possibly can. They'll play the tactics. But currently, it's said that Qatar's got the most money. Like the biggest bid by a good 350, 400 million. They are just trying to play the bluff so people can, give that little bit more. When you're talking about margins, we're talking about margins of 100 million. What can you do with 100 million? A lot of things. So each time, do you get what I mean? So it's fine margins, but the extra 200, 300 million is probably worth the squeeze. How much do you want it? Because someone will want it.
They're still a little bit way off, aren't they?
Do you believe you'll have new owners in by the start of next season?
Yeah. I think it's gone way too far in now for anything to be dropped. They will accept something. They will have to, because I'm telling you now, if something doesn't get done about, best believe that stadium will be empty. They will lose a lot of money. I think it was being told today, they've been warned, if they don't actually sell this club, the backlash from fans in general, it will be chaos. It will be chaos. They can't. The thing is, they can't afford to not sell it either. We're talking about new facilities. We're talking about new stadiums, etc., etc. How much you need to invest to keep this thing going. They don't have the funds. They need the funds. They're only rich by asset. And then when I mean assets, I mean like Man United, and obviously they own the whoever over in America. They own somebody
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there. I can't remember their
Everyone
name.
owns something now, don't
Yeah.
they? Like everyone
We,
owns
Yeah,
a
yeah.
hockey team or a baseball
we,
team. Or
we
I
know
don't know.
only too well, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. Listen, but none of your clubs own a Formula One go-karting track under their stadium, so you've got nothing on us, right? We're the best club. Guys, your two clubs are in Europe. My club, unfortunately, went out with an absolute whimper to AC Milan. But your clubs are in Europe. Contrasting results in the first legs. I think Kaz, your boys won. Was it 4-1 against Betis?
4-1.
And 2-2 at Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah.
Let me start with the easy one, Kaz. I'm guessing, barring a complete disaster. Where's the second leg? Is it at Betis?
Yeah, it's at Betis. There's no
It's
way.
at Betis.
There's no way we're losing like 3-0 by 3 goals.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
in my watch. I don't think we've been to Spain a couple times this season.
Can we clip this if it happens?
Do whatever you want. We're not losing to Betis. Are we the first one on the stream? We're not losing by more than how many goals to Betis. They leak goals as well, you know. Like for me, it's like we still got Casemiro. We still got the full squad. We've got Sabitzer back as well. So I'm not fussed. I'm not fussed at all. It'll be a close game though. It's not going to be another walkover. I doubt it. But they need to go for it. So if there's something Man United are good at, it would be counter-attacking football currently. If you just sit back and indulge any of their press, the way they want to play, just hit them on the break. There you go, done.
No, listen, absolutely. By the way, I don't think there's any way that Betis beat you either. It's one of those things where I think I saw on a show the other day, maybe the Big Six or whatever, and I think it was Saeed sitting there talking about going to Man United, going to Liverpool. Man United going to Liverpool, and he was like, this Liverpool team is dusted. We've got this. I'm not worried about them. We're one. I'm putting out my chest. And everyone was like, oh, we're going to clip this. And then 7-0 later, it was just quite funny. But I'll come back to you in a second, Kaz. Not as straightforward for your boys, Al, but 2-2 in the first leg. Confident of beating them at the Emirates? And are you going to put out a strong team?
I think they will put out a slightly stronger team. I don't think the goalkeepers will change, which I know Arsenal fans won't be happy about. But I think the problem is that, you know what it is, the first leg? I defy anyone to tell me when you make 6 changes that you're going to have a seamless performance.
Of course.
Away from home. In the knockout stage. It's not going to happen. But we didn't start the game very well in the first leg. It defensively was all over the place. But when we made the subs that came on, Tomiyasu and Gabriel, we looked a lot more self-assured and solid. So I think we'll have a stronger back 4 unit. And people have been calling for Jesus to start. I don't think he'll start. I think I listened to Mikel Arteta's press conference today. He said, look, he's been out a long time. We need to manage him back. It was a serious injury. But it'll definitely be a stronger team than the first leg. But I only think the reason why we made 6 changes was because there was an illness through the camp and there were injuries. Because I don't think Mikel Arteta would have gone to that first leg making 6 changes. That he just wouldn't have done that. But this time round, I think we'll get the job done. Hopefully a better defensive display than in the first leg.
Yeah, I mean, look, they beat us. If you saw, they beat us this season already.
I did see that.
Yeah. But listen, beating us is nothing to scream home about. So, guys, just remind me. So, this is to get into the quarterfinals. Is that correct?
Yes.
This is okay. So, let's assume Man United and Arsenal both reached the quarterfinals. Any teams left in it that you're worried about? Are you confident, both of you, that your individual team can go on and lift this trophy?
You're open. The only team I've got to really worry about is Arsenal. I'd obviously want to avoid Juventus and Roma, but I don't think Juventus are anything as great as people make it out. They make them out to be, and still got no Paul Pogba again and whatnot. It's not really a threat for me. Anything like not an Italian team in that competition. I wouldn't mind playing an Italian team if I'm being real.
Has this not got Jose Mourinho's name written all over it in true Jose style?
They got but they all play defensive. But if you put that Jose Mourinho team against an Arsenal, they're getting smashed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They get smashed. They got hardly anything to break upon, and they lack explosion in Roma. They still playing El Shaarawy. Like, come on,
is he still playing? Oh my god!
Yeah, I think he got the goal as it goes for their one of their goals.
But playing devil's advocate, right?
Yeah, I know you're going to do that. I know you're going to do
He's
this.
got this knack of winning trophies when it looks like he shouldn't or he can't. Look, let's be fair. He's probably the best manager in the world at one-off big games, i.e., if he can get himself to a final, you're not really
that's the
backing
big question. Can he get there?
I hear you. I hear you. I mean, but I just think it would be funny to see Man United against Roma. I think that would be two brilliant games. I'd love to see.
Just want to avoid Arsenal, man. I think they're probably going to try and make it an Arsenal Man United final. They will do it something along the corruption of football. We'll try and make that happen.
And are you at the stage now where you can draw each other in the next round, right? Or is it preset who you've got?
Nah,
you can get each other.
It's anything goes now. Yeah, after this round.
Yeah.
Albert, are you confident that if you can avoid Man United until the final, are you confident of at least getting to the final?
You know what it is. You know what? I look at it a bit differently. Because I see a lot of Arsenal fans talking about the Europa League and the league, and can Arsenal do both? I said, listen, man. I was lucky enough to be alive to see Arsenal win their last European trophy. It's been too long. A club of our stature is crazy to only have won 2 European trophies. So I think because we're at the stage that we are now in the season, you can do both. Because there are fringe players in our squad that we can't just rely on the core of 13, 14 players to get through the rest, for the remainder of the bulk of the games. So we can do both. It wouldn't fear me playing United. I think it'd be a fantastic game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
My last question to you guys before we end the show. 3 questions to you. I'll come to you first, Kaz. I need to know from you who's winning the Europa League, who's winning the Premier League, and who's winning the FA Cup.
I think Man United, Arsenal, Man United.
Man United. So Man United for the Europa League, Arsenal for the Premier League, Man United for the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So you're going for the treble of cups this year.
Yes, yeah. And who can tell me that I'm we're more than likely going to beat Fulham at home, right? We're going to be in a semi-finals. Anyone's game from there. Europa League, I don't think there's much opposition that can really scare me, bar Arsenal, of course. By the way, which would require some sort of heritage in a competition which they don't have. And in the Premier League, obviously, we have no chance. I think that's Arsenal to lose.
Wow. Okay. 2 Man Uniteds there. Albert, are you going to stick Man United twice in your 3 answers?
You've got to be having a laugh. No chance.
I'm just asking.
We'll go Man City in the FA Cup. I think Man City in the FA Cup. Europa League's a tough one, man, because like I said, I haven't seen too much European success at Arsenal. We've lost a lot of finals. We ain't won a lot.
Yeah.
Poor dear. Arsenal for the league. I'm going to say that. Let's get that one out of the way.
Yeah, of course. I was expecting that.
The Europa League one's a bit tough, man. Looking at the teams that's left, like Kaz was saying, Juventus and Roma, us and United. I don't fear the other sides personally. Let's go Arsenal to break their hoodoo, man. Since since 94. Yeah.
Okay, so Arsenal for the league.
Double.
Okay, so but you saw this, guys. These 2 are going for doubles. I love this. I'm going to go with Man City to win the league. I truly believe that if they beat you at the Etihad, I truly believe that's going to change everything. I'm going to go. I'm just going to do it for fun. I'm going to go with Jose Mourinho and Roma to pull off a Europa. If he does, guys, he does,
right near the end of it.
But it will cement him, won't it, as one of the best ever, because this guy just keeps grinding out trophies. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where he goes other than Tottenham. It doesn't matter. Even at United, when the fans didn't like him, he got Europa League, League Cup. He goes to Roma, wins their first European trophy. This year, it looks like they could get top 4 and possibly the Europa League. And I'm going to go with, I think Man United might win the FA Cup. Okay. I think Man United for the FA Cup. And I know now that none of those 3 things are going to happen that I've said. I now realize that I've said that none of those things are going to happen. Listen, guys, thanks so much. It's always good to get the opinions of different clubs and stuff. And thanks for being part of my first show under the new banner. So that really does mean a lot to me. I won't forget that. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Please go and like these 2 guys, Albert JTV, and go over to Never a Foul Media for Kaz. These guys have got some good content. They got some good banter going on with some crazy guests. And obviously, subscribe to Football Heritage TV. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you very, very soon. Take care, everyone. See you later.